Hello, everybody, and welcome back to New Eridu. It's been a minute, but I've made it to the point to where I'm comfortable making this video, and I'm in on level 42, and I have done almost everything in the game. As you can see, I have three. I mean, you can't tell how many I have, but I have three character stories left to do, and then that's it. I'm done with everything else. I have nothing to do. Uh, so I'm just gonna give my 2 cents on what I think about the game and all the aspects of it. So, like Spark Notes, if you just want an answer immediately, I really like this game. This game's really fun, and I'm really hyped for 1.1 updates because I've seen a few things, I've heard a few things, and it all looks to be really promising. But with that said, let's get into the video. So the story had a little bit of a rough start. It didn't grab my attention like it was supposed to, but the more I played the game, the more invested I got into the story. And personally, I think part 3 is where the story really picked up. I remember there being several animation scenes that had my jaw just drop, and I got super invested onto the whole chapter. Like, chapter 3 is really good. And I think that that's really where, like, they've hit their stride, and I really hope that they continue with it. Because I just think that chapter 3 is the best chapter we've gotten so far, which is a little weird because usually you want your audience to be, their attention to be grabbed at the beginning, and then you want to either create a lull to build up for something, or you just want to keep it there or go a little higher. But unfortunately, that they just didn't do that for me. And I think that the way that they tell the stories is really interesting, because they can tell the stories in more than one way. You have the comic book pages type stuff. You have animations, which every animation I've seen in this game are absolutely phenomenal. They do it really well. And you have the TV area. And talking specifically about the TV area, I don't know if I like it or if I don't like it. There are some parts that, because it's told in that way, it does it really well. Like, there are ways that I wouldn't think that they would be able to use it in that way, but they do. And then there are some ways where I just kind of want to get through it just to get to the story. I don't want to be in the TV area. So I'm kind of iffy about if I like it or not. But it is interesting. It is very interesting, and it's a bold choice, and they are able to do interesting things with it. So that makes me hopeful for the future. But let's talk about specifically characters. I think, just like the story, I got more invested in the characters the farther into the story I got, with my favorite faction being the Victorian Housekeeping Company. Just look at my team. 2 out of the 3 members are part of that faction. I think they're all really great. I also really like the friendship system. As I mentioned earlier, I wasn't super invested in the story at the beginning, but thanks to the friendship system, I do like the characters a lot more now than if they were just contained into being in the main story. I think one of the best examples of that would be Ben, the bear. I think Ben's great, but if he was just interacted in his part 2 story for Belobog, I really wouldn't care about him at all, because he's just not incredibly prevalent. But because of the friendship system, I think Ben's great. He's probably my favorite Belobog character. He's fantastic. So yeah, and then part 3. I'm gonna gush about part 3 a lot. I love the Ballot Twins storyline. So it's so good. Everything about it's so good. The characters are probably my favorite, and the story's great. But moving on from the story and all of that, I can't talk too much on this next part because I've only summoned enough for my early S rank, and I just haven't summoned since. But the gacha is pretty standard for a Hoyo game. I'm glad that they decided to make the W engine a 75% chance like it is in Star Rail, and the little Bangbu summonings, I'm really glad that they didn't monetize that, because then I would feel like it would be a little harder to get a hold of the tickets to summon. But since it's completely random, it kind of impedes your progress if you need a specific Bangbu for a team, because Bangbu has special stats for if you have a certain amount of team members of a faction. But outside of that, I think that it's just, like, the Bangbus are a great addition, and I think it is good that they didn't monetize that. Especially since there is no other Hoyoverse equivalent. Like, there's no Bangbu equivalent Star Rail or Genshin, so I don't know how they would even do that. But so, like, now moving on to, like, the big portion, the combat of the game. short story. I really like it. It's really good. The flowing between characters by performing perfect dodges is really interesting, and it allows for more interesting character enemy interactions. For my team specifically, I am able to completely prevent smaller enemies from moving from the second they get stunned, which I find hilarious. I just need Ambi to daze one of them, and then they all just get swept up by Rina, and then Corin comes in and they can't move, and it's great. I think it's hilarious. And then you have the tougher enemies, the more like elite type enemies that are more challenging, and they're more fun to fight because I can't just like daze them and then just completely wipe them off the face of the earth. So that is cool, and they have their own attack patterns which you can learn, and then you get used to it, and then so it is really cool. I really like the combat, and because the combat is so fun, I think that makes Shibuya Defense and Hollow Zero one of the best parts of the game. I can't complete either of them fully because I just don't have a second team, so I just kind of get walled right there. But I do think that those two things are the best content in this game. I think I've done everything I can in Hollow Zero up to my level. Once I hit 43, then I unlock more of that. I'm really easy to please. I'm not like super picky on the games that I play. I really like Zenless. I played it every day since it came out. I haven't missed a single login thing. I've done all the events. I've done everything that I can. I mean, I'm level 42 for a reason. And the only thing that I have left to do is to grind out achievements, which I don't want to do. I don't, again, because I haven't gone out of my way to look at other people's opinion, like things. I've really just tried to make this my own experience and not let other people's opinions affect me too much. I don't know what the general consensus is with the things that I talked about, but personally, I really like all of them. And I've seen the 1.1 patch notes that are supposed to be coming, or like features that they're supposed to be adding, and I'm super excited for the future of this game. I think it's gonna be great. But with that said, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and please let me know what you think of the game. Of course, I do want to know what other people are like. I just don't want to go and search for it because I just want to play the game. But I'm super interested to see what you all have to say about, what you think of the game and what you think of the combat, and specifically the story. I want to know if I'm just completely delusional and maybe part 3 is not the best. I think it is, but I don't know. But with that said, I will see you all in the next one.